Just in time for holiday card making, Catherine Pooler Designs has come out with 3 new colors of inks. And guess what? They're metallics. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and I'm super excited to be here to share these new metallic ink pigment colors, gold, silver, and champagne with you. And this video is a part of a YouTube hop sharing inspiration with these new ink colors and the new supplies of their latest release. So be sure to look down below in the description under this video to see all the details about the hop and the giveaway. But for now, you know when I get a new ink color, my favorite thing to do is swatch it out. So let's swatch out the 3 new metallic inks from Catherine Pooler Designs. If you're familiar with Catherine Pooler's premium dye ink pads, these will look similar. They are foam pads. They are the same shape as the Catherine Pooler premium dye ink pads. They are definitely pigment ink. You can tell because they sit way on top of skin, paper, whatever it is, and that means that they'll take a long time to dry. Here are my premium ink pad swatches. So I have a tag die that I cut out, and then I have the color swatch stamp set, which has a nice sized square. So I'll ink up the square with the gold pigment ink and stamp it onto the tag. Now, what is absolutely amazing about these pigment metallic inks is how much shine they have just on their own. So I think usually pigment inks and metallic inks tend to be a little bit, how do I describe it? Like a little bit hazy, like they don't shine like a true metallic. These definitely do. So this is champagne, the one before was silver. So you can see I'm just going to put a gold square on this scratch piece of paper, and once I stamp it out, you can see it's going to take a long time to dry because it is sitting above the paper. To get it to be protected right away, I'll add some clear embossing powder on top and then heat set that. That's going to trap the pigment ink onto the cardstock and you won't be able to smear it anymore. Now, you could also just use some type of fixative spray. I don't have any of that right now, so this was the best bet for me to make sure that these ink swatches stayed exactly where they are. They will still be super shiny, super metallic looking. They will just be protected underneath that clear embossing ink, so you can see those won't smear. I also like to use the Catherine Pooler inks to ink blend. So I usually create an entire swatch book of ink blended inks from their collection as well. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to blend them out into spots and then cover them with clear embossing powder and then heat set each of those blended areas to make sure that they are protected by that clear embossing powder and won't smear. So this is the other swatch book that I have for Catherine Pooler inks. It's made with the swatch tag die set. So you can see you can cut out a little oval that looks like the little ink pad and then put it on a tag and put it on a ring. Now that you've seen the new colors that we're working with, let's use them with some of the new stamps and dies from their latest release to make some cards. First, I'll use the dots and scallops dies to cut out a piece of the Bedford Falls pattern paper and a piece of white cardstock. I absolutely love the pierced rectangles in front of those scalloped white backgrounds. Now I have the Warm and Bright stamp set, and I'll use a couple of the stamps, a sentiment and an image, with some of the silver ink. So I'm stamping up the stamps just like I normally would, although I do tap a little bit heavier than I would with a normal Catherine Pooler ink pad. Once I've stamped them out on the black cardstock, I'll add some clear embossing powder so that they don't smear, and then I'll heat set those, and you can see it is a gorgeous silver color and they stand out really beautifully, especially on dark cardstocks like this. Then I'll take the die for the lamp and cut out a few pieces of the center of one of the Bedford Falls pattern papers, and I'm layering an A2 piece of pattern paper as the background, then the white scallop, and then the smaller pierced rectangle on top. I have my Sweet Petunia Precision Glue Press to add a little bit of liquid glue behind the lamppost here, and then I'll place that down on the pattern paper. Then put a little bit of liquid glue in the openings where the light is, and then I'll add in these little pieces that I die cut out from the pattern paper. So everything's cut out of the pattern paper so that it matches really beautifully. And then the pigment ink is just a nice, super metallic addition on top. There are a bunch of tiny little stamps in the Warm and Bright stamp set. There are holly leaves, a pine cone. There's just a bunch of little things, greeneries and things like that, that you can add to decorate around your lamppost. I also like the way they look around the sentiments too. So I'm tucking a few of those around the sentiment, which I popped up on some foam adhesive, and then I'll put some on top of that little lamppost at the bottom, just as some decoration there. And it is so easy to pull these together, but I absolutely love the shine of that metallic ink. This time I'm using the gold and another image from the same stamp set and another sentiment from the same stamp set. And this time I'm stamping on white cardstock, just to show you that you can use these pigment inks on white, on dark cardstock, on pattern paper even, just as long as you make sure you set it somehow, either with a fixative spray or that clear embossing powder. There's also little candles in the stamp set and a little flame image as well, and everything has dies to cut it out, which makes it really nice because you can piece it together. So I have a thin strip of the striped pattern paper on the left hand side of an A2 piece of the pattern paper from the Bedford Falls pack. Now I have a rectangle that I cut out with those dots and scallops. This is a smaller one, and I'm rotating it so it's horizontal instead of vertical. And I'll use a little bit of liquid adhesive behind the lantern here and adhere that right down on that white cardstock, add my candle and my flame, and of course, pop up my sentiment with a bunch of small white foam squares. But I just love the look of that gold. It's so pretty and it's so unique, and it adds just the perfect touch to a card when you're talking about shine or light or warmth. And then of course, a few more pieces of that greenery from the stamp set around the sentiment this time, and that completes this card. For this card, I have the On the Lake ink, which is a newer color of ink, and I'm going to swipe just the edges of an A2 piece of white cardstock. I don't need to cover the entire thing. I'm just using this as a mat, and so as to save some ink, I'm just going to ink up those edges. Then I'll take a 4 by 5 1/4 rectangle that I cut out with the dots and scallops die of a pattern paper and layer that on top. These dies make it so fun to layer. So next I have a scallop in white cardstock, and then I have a dotted rectangle with another piece of the pattern paper from the Bedford Falls pack. This time I used champagne ink, and you can see there's a definite difference between gold and champagne. And I love having all three because all three, even combined together, would make such a unique holiday card. So now I'm stamping out a different candle, the same flame, and a few pieces of greenery as well. Again, they all have tiny little dies so you can cut them out. I'll pop up the lantern on a few pieces of white foam squares. This way I can add some things to it. So I have that at the top this time. The sentiment I'll pop up on the same level of foam squares at the bottom, and then I can add my candle, I can add my flame, and then I have my 2 pieces of holly, which I decided to actually put around the sentiment. These sentiments are so pretty with their font that I think, and having the ability to cut them out, that I think putting greenery around them really accents them beautifully. So take a look at that champagne. Isn't that a gorgeous color? I don't know about you, but I adore these new metallic inks, and I'll be absolutely using them in my holiday cards and beyond. But I'd love to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget, before you go, to check the YouTube description box under this video for all the details about the YouTube hop, where to go next, and the giveaway. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Oh, hop. There's a YouTube hop, right? I had that, so if that was interrupted by whatever's going on over there, I'm not going to be happy. in my holiday card making. I was like looking over here as always.